1 medium needle. 1 fine needle. What we are teaching everyone to make are small dolls. So we are providing these 2 types of needles. The medium needle is slightly longer than the fine needle. The tip of the medium needle is also slightly thicker than the fine needle. Both types of needle tips will have many small barbs. During the felting process, the barbs move the wool, causing the wool to interlock to achieve the felting effect. New needle are coated with anti-rust oil to prevent the felting needle from rusting. Before we use it, you can wipe off the rust-proof oil on the surface with a paper towel. The correct way to clean the needle is to gently wipe along the direction of the needle. After cleaning, it can be used together with the handle. When cleaning the needle, remember not to wipe back and forth. This can easily lead to the needle accidentally piercing your finger. If the needle is not used for a long time, to avoid rusting, you can apply rust-proof oil or cooking oil to the surface. After oiling, store it in a needle case. Using the needle. When felting wool, the needle needs to be kept vertical to the wool being felted. Insert the wool in the direction of the needle tip. When pulling the needle out, it needs to be pulled out in the opposite direction of where it was inserted. Then repeat. Continuously repeat. This will allow the wool to be felt. When felting wool, make sure to apply force in the direction of the needle. Do not press the needle. Pressing the needle can easily lead to breakage. Also, do not lift the needle upwards after inserting it into the wool. This can also cause the needle to break. The video uses a white foam pad.
Hello everyone. Today we will learn how to make a cute husky. Before we start, let's take a look at the 1-to-1 blueprint. First, let's roughly outline the basic shape of the husky. Here, for everyone's convenience, we will use a physical object for explanation. The head of the husky can be roughly summarized as a spherical shape. Next, let's make the basic shape of the husky's head together. Take out the white wool. Wrap it roughly first. Check the amount of wool. Compare it with the 1-to-1 blueprint. Check if the size is suitable. It's a little too much. Pull it back a little. This amount is about right. Pinch this spot with your fingers. Loosen. Only keep this part of the wool. Tear off the remaining wool. The 2 fingers can be slightly farther from this middle point. Tear off the remaining wool. If you tear the wool too closely, it will be difficult to tear the wool apart. Wrap it again. Check if the amount is appropriate. It can be a little larger than what is on the blueprint, because at this point we are not wrapping it very tightly. This amount is about right. If you have separated the wool and still feel it is too much after comparing with the blueprint, you can pull off the excess wool from this position below. You can also separate the wool from this position on the side. This way, you can get the amount you want. Take out the wool, you just separated. Let's start wrapping the wool. If you just loosely wrap the wool like this, and then start felting. Because the middle is loose, we will need to spend more time to felt it tightly. The correct way to wrap wool. Take out the separated wool. Use the knee end. Pinch it and wrap it inward. Press down with the other hand. Pinch tightly. Make sure to hold it firmly. This hand needs to press down hard. Gather both sides towards the center. Repeat this continuously until the wool is tightly wrapped. After pinching, hold down the end. Now the wool is wrapped well. Everyone needs to prepare the workbench before felting. Place the gray felting mat from the material package underneath. This makes it easier for everyone to felt. The needle is also less likely to break during felting. For the convenience of teaching and viewing, we will demonstrate using a large foam pad. After wrapping tightly, we use the medium needle to felt. First, secure the end by stabbing it deeply. Rotate it like this. First, secure the outer circle. Stab it until it won't fall apart. At the beginning of the felting process, everyone can slow down the speed of the needle a bit. This can help avoid stabbing our fingers on this side. Stab it until it won't fall apart. Now the wool on both sides is in an overflowing state. We can turn it over like this. Stab the wool on both sides inward. Poke and rotate at the same time like this. It helps us to felt the wool into a spherical shape. If you keep poking in the same spot too long, it can easily lead to deformation. Rotating it allows us to shape the wool into the desired form more quickly. The video has been edited and sped up. The actual crafting time will take a bit longer, so please be patient while poking. The sphere has now taken initial shape. Let's check the softness and hardness. The center is still quite soft. We will continue to poke deeply with the medium needle to compact the center. During the poking process, observe the shape closely. For example, if you notice that this area is protruding. Now let's tuck it in. Let's check the firmness again. It feels quite firm inside now. The surface is still soft. It is a bit hard to poke using the medium needle. At this point, we will switch to the fine needle. A fine needle can further refine and increase the firmness. Similarly, adjust the shape while rotating. Now the sides are a little square. You can poke it in a bit. Let's check the firmness again. Now it has become very firm inside. When you squeeze the surface, there will be a slight rebound feeling. This level of firmness is just right. Everyone, please note that it doesn't need to be poked too tightly. If the felting is too tightened hard, it will be inconvenient to make adjustments later. Let's compare the size of the blueprint. This size is just right. The basic shape of the head is now complete. If when comparing the blueprint, you feel the basic shape is too small, you can take out some white wool, spread it out, and wrap it around the surface of the basic shape. Use a fine needle to poke it deeply to secure it and enlarge the basic shape. If when comparing the blueprints you feel the basic shape is a bit large, you can use scissors to trim it. To make it a little smaller. Let's observe the shape of the husky's face. From the side, the nose area protrudes like this. From the front, the cheeks on both sides are bulging out. So we need to add a protruding nose on the basic shape of the head. And the bulging cheeks on both sides. First, let's add the basic shape of the nose. Take out some white wool. Tear the wool apart. When tearing, hold on to the long fibers at the edge. Tear them shorter. Cut them in the middle again. Tear while rotating like this. Rotating and tearing can make the wool a bit finer. If you keep tearing in the same direction, it's not easy to tear the fibers short. After tearing it apart, fold the torn wool. Now there is a bit too much wool. You can take a little out. Fold at both sides. Fold it into a semicircular shape like this. Add it to the lower part of the head. As the basic shape for the nose. First, use the fine needle to stab it deeply to secure it. Deeply stab the edges to secure them in place. The basic shape of the nose presents a long oval shape. Now the basic shape of the nose is complete. From the side, it has a slightly protruding state. Next, use the same method to add the cheeks that are bulging on both sides. The video has been edited and sped up. The actual production time takes a bit longer, so everyone needs to be patient while felting. After adding, let's observe its curvature. Looking at it this way, the curvature of the muzzle at the front is still not enough. We can add some wool in the middle. Let's raise it a bit more. After adding, let's compare it with the 1-to-1 blueprint. The size is appropriate. The height from the side is now basically suitable. We will adjust the curvature of the neck here in the later stage when we connect the head with the body. The top position can also be fine-tuned when adding dark wool. The basic shape of the face is now complete. You can trim the fluff with scissors. Pay attention, this hand can be a bit further away. Avoid getting hurt by the scissors. If you prefer a fluffier effect, you can keep the fluff without trimming it. The basic shape of the face is complete. Creating the basic shape of the body. Let's first take a look at the 1-to-1 blueprint. You can summarize the basic shape of the body into a cylinder. Next, use the same method to create the basic shape of the body. After confirming the amount of wool, wrap the wool tightly. Use the medium needle to stab deeply and secure the outer circle. While rotating, continue to stab the wool tightly and shape it. Stab it into a cylinder. Confirm the tightness if you feel that the medium needle is getting difficult to use. Continue rotating while felting with the fine needle to form the cylinder. After making the cylinder, let's take another look at the body of the husky. The shoulders are bulging out. Because the husky is in a sitting position, so the thighs are also bulging like this. The husky has a full butt. The butt presents a curve like this. The sides of the waist are recessed like this. So next, we need to add the basic shapes of the butt, shoulders, and thighs on the cylinder. Take out the white wool and tear it apart. Add it to the lower half of the cylinder as the basic shape for the butt. Use the fine needle to poke deeply to secure it. Press the added wool tightly. After adding the basic shape for the butt, connect the basic shape of the head to the body. To make the connection between the head and body more natural, use a fine needle to create a slight indentation at the connection point. Confirm the head position and use a fine needle to poke around the body to secure it deeply. Once connected, tear the white wool apart and fold. Use a fine needle to poke deeply and secure it tightly. Using the same method, add the basic shapes for the shoulders. When poking these detailed areas, you can slow down the needle speed appropriately. After poking, let's check the curvature. Clearly, the curvature of the thigh is not full enough. We need to add some more wool to make the thigh fuller. The basic shapes of the thighs are complete. Next, we'll make the limbs. Let's first observe the shape of the husky. We can simply summarize the limb as a cylindrical shape with semicircular paw. Because the husky is in a sitting position, so the two front legs are upright, while the two hind legs are horizontal when connecting them. Pay attention to these 2 points. Next, let's create the basic shapes of the limbs. Take the torn white wool and fold it into a cylindrical shape. Use a fine needle to felt tightly. First, felt one end, leaving the other end loose with some wool for easier connection later. Rotate while felting to form a cylindrical shape. Near the front end, felt deeply to create a semi-skirt or paw shape. Use the same method to make the other 3 legs. The shorter 2 are the hind legs. The longer 2 are the front legs. First, attach the front legs to the sides of the shoulders. Confirm the position and use a fine needle to felt deeply to secure. Connect the hind legs to the sides of the thighs. All four legs are connected. Next, tear the white wool into pieces and add it to the back. Use the fine needle to felt it tightly, so the connection marks disappear. This makes the connection more natural while giving a fuller back. Add the torn wool to the butt as well, making the connection more natural while also filling out the butt. The wool for the back end butt has been added. Now let's take a look at the patterns on the Husky's back. They can be summarized into 4 colors. One is the lightest light gray. Another is the medium iron gray. And there are dark parts that are a mix of iron gray and black, along with the deepest black parts. To create a realistic fur effect, the patterns are quite random. Some areas are dark while others are light. The dark patterns are mainly concentrated in the middle of the back. On the top of the tail, the tips of the ears, and the top of the head. There are also 2 dark patterns on the front legs. So next, we need to start with the lightest light gray. Overall, apply a base layer on the back and head. Then add the middle color, iron gray, in the center. Finally, add the dark patterns. First, apply the light gray on the back and head, using fine needle to felt it tightly. The edges don't need to be too neat. A natural transition is just fine. Then add the iron gray in the middle of the back and felt it tightly. Making mixed color wool. Take equal amounts of iron gray wool and black wool. Tear the 2 wools apart while mixing them. Be careful when tearing the wool. Don't keep your hands too close together. If they're too close, you can't tear the wool apart. You can keep them a bit farther apart. Don't always tear in the same direction. Tearing in the same direction makes the fibers very obvious. It's also not easy to tear the wool apart. We need to rotate and tear the wool like this. Tear the long fibers on the edges shorter. Rotate and tear the wool. If you feel there is too much wool right now, it's a bit hard to mix evenly, you can take out half first. Mix this part of the wool in small amounts evenly first. During the mixing process, if you feel the mixed color is not dark enough, we can add some more black wool. Mix it and untear it evenly. Deepen the color a bit more. The effect of mixing evenly. When laying down the colors, you can use the mixed wool. Take out the amount you need. First, spread it out evenly. Check that the thickness on the side is relatively even. After spreading it evenly, place it on the surface for felting. Continue to place the mixed wool in the middle of the back. Felt it tightly to deepen the back color. Add the mixed wool to the sides of the front legs and the head. Be careful not to use the wrong needle. Using a fine needle will make it more detailed and less likely to distort the shape. When felting the facial patterns, you can outline the general shape, leaving the eye sockets untouched. Before we create the facial features, let's take a moment to observe. Around the husky's eyes there is a ring of black eyeliner. There are 2 white eyebrows. The patterns on the face are quite symmetrical, with a white dividing line in the middle. The nose is shaped like an inverted triangle. The curve of the mouth is slightly raised at both ends. Let's remember these key points about the face. Next, we'll gradually shape the facial features. Add torn black wool to the eye sockets and use a fine needle to felt it tightly. Use the fine needle to deeply poke the eye sockets to create a depression, ensuring the eye sockets are symmetrical. Due to international shipping reasons, you need to prepare glue by yourself. Apply glue to the back of the eyes and secure them in the eye sockets. Eyes installation completed. Mix a little bit of iron gray wool with black wool and add it to the top of the head to deepen the color. Add torn white wool in the middle position to create patterns. You can use scissors to trim off the excess parts on both sides. Continue to use the fine needle to felt it tightly. Roll the torn white wool into small balls to make eyebrows. Use the fine needle to poke deeply to secure it. Eyebrows completed. Make the nose. First tear apart black wool. Fold into a small ball and use a fine needle to felt it tightly. Attach it at the front and felt it into an inverted triangle shape as the nose. Felt the mouth. First use a fine needle to outline the general position. Take a small amount of black wool and roll it in your palms to form an on-fraying string. Place it below the nose and use a fine needle to deeply felt it in place. Trim off any excess. On the other side, use the same method to deeply felt it in place. Mouth completed. Roll black wool into a string to deepen the eyeliner. Before making the ears, take a moment to observe the shape of the ears. From the side, the ears have a certain thickness. The top is slightly pointed. Now let's take a look at the position of the ears. The connection point of the ears is roughly at the middle of the eyes. Connect diagonally downwards like this. Now let's look at the top. Next, we will create the basic shape of the ears. Fold the torn white wool into a triangle. Use the fine needle to poke and tighten it while rotating. Leave the other end loose, so the wool remains fluffy for easier connection later. The basic shape of the ear is complete. Add the torn mixed color wool to the ear and use the fine needle to felt it tightly. Deeply felt the excess wool at the edges to the side. One ear is complete, make another one using the same method. When felting small objects, you can slow down the needle speed to avoid poking your other fingers. Both ears are done, we'll connect them to the head. Once the position is confirmed, use the fine needle to felt it securely. Take a small amount of torn mixed color wool and add it to the connection point. The ear's connection is complete. Wrap the torn mixed color wool into a cylindrical shape. Use the fine needle to felt tightly, rotating to form a cylinder that is thin at the front and thick at the back. Leave the other end loose with unfelted wool for easier connection later. The basic shape of the tail is complete. Use the fine needle to deeply felt the tail to the middle position of the butt. Add a small amount of torn black wool to the tip of the tail to deepen its color. Using the same method, randomly add a small amount of black wool to the back and ears to deepen the color. The tail connection is complete. Take a small amount of light gray wool and roll it into a rope shape with both hands. Use a fine needle to poke deeply into the paw to secure it, creating the toe pattern. Cut off the excess with scissors, and use the same method to create the remaining toe patterns. The paw patterns are complete. If you feel the chest isn't full enough, you can add some more wool to plump it up. Do the same for any other areas that need more fullness. If you like a fluffy effect, you can use a brush or trim the bristles of a toothbrush a bit to fluff up the puppy's fur. And just like that, a cute husky is done. See you next time.